President Muhammadu Buhari promises bilateral cooperation between Nigeria and China. National Identity Management Commission introduces fees for Nigerians to correct data. And Nigeria to repay $500 million Eurobond. Many thanks for joining us on the news at this hour. I am Onyi Adekunle. Now, it will be difficult for Nigeria to attain sustainable growth when the country is still struggling with huge infrastructural deficit. These were the words of President Muhammadu Buhari when he received the Chinese Minister of Foreign Affairs, Wang Yi, at the State House in Abuja. A statement by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, quoted the president as saying that infrastructure plays a critical role that cannot be neglected in the development of any nation. The president thanked China for its consistent support over the last 50 years in Nigeria's infrastructural development in the building of rail, road, power, defense, and many others. President Buhari also pledged that Nigeria would continue to honor its obligations in the relationship with China. And in security, the Nigerian army successfully neutralized 220 bandits, rescued 642 kidnapped victims, while 167 bandits and 81 kidnap attempts were foiled between June to December last year. The troops of Operation Sahel Sanity, within the period under review, carried out series of clearance operations within Sokoto, Katsina, Kebbi, Kaduna, Niger, and Zamfara states. Acting Director, Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Bernard Onyeko, revealed this while briefing newsmen in Faskari Super Camp 4 on Wednesday. Onyeko was represented by the Nigerian Army Operations Media Coordinator Aminu Ilyasu, said 197 bandits camps were also destroyed during the period. Weapons recovered include AK-47 rifles, as well as thousands of other guns and ammunition, cows and sheep. And tragedy struck again in Borno State on Tuesday as over 30 houses were razed and farm products destroyed when suspected Boko Haram insurgents attacked Wandeo village in Askira Oba local government area of Borno State. The attack on the village reportedly started around 6:30 Tuesday evening and lasted for about 2 hours. Shops, places of worship, market stalls were all touched by the insurgents during the attack, while hundreds of civilians fled into the bush for safety. Thankfully, no life was lost in the attack. In a similar development, kidnappers have abducted the 2 wives of Idris Mohammed, the councillor representing Gwako Ward in Gwagwalada Area Council, Abuja, and 3 others. Reports say the incident happened around noon on Monday when gunmen with sophisticated weapons invaded the councillor's house. The kidnappers destroyed the gate of the building after shooting sporadically. They thereafter entered the house and whisked away the councillor's wives, his sister, and 2 younger brothers at gunpoint, while the councillor narrowly escaped through one of the exit doors. The family confirms that the abductors have established contact and are demanding 100 million naira ransom. National identification number holders seeking to correct their dates of birth in the National Identity Management Commission NIMC database will have to do so with the sum of 15,000 naira. NIMC Regional Coordinator Funmi Okpesonwo disclosed this on Wednesday at the Commission's office in Alausa, Lagos State. Nigerians with NIN are also required to pay a processing fee of 5,000 naira for card renewal or card replacement, as well as an address modification fee of 500 naira. Okpesonwo explained that the Commission offers different services, adding that while NIN enrollment is free, there are fees attached to card renewal, correction of date of birth, and change of address. And meanwhile, security agencies attached to the NIMC office in Abuja have attacked 3 journalists. 3 photojournalists were harassed by the security officer on Wednesday. The security personnel alleged that the journalists do not have permission to take shots of Nigerians struggling to register for the National Identity Number NIN. The journalists were initially detained within the premises of NIMC before they were eventually released. Well, Atinuke Nuke joins me now via Skype from Abuja to give us an update on the issue. Atinuke, it's good to have you on the news. Now, tell us, what is this attack on journalists at NIMC office?
Okay, usually since this NIN registration has been going on, a lot of journalists have been going there to cover the registration. We're also there from the onset to cover the day-to-day registration. So this particular journalist, Obasa, that works with Punch, just went there to, take pictures of what is happening. And then he said an official with the NSCDC now came to harass him. So he was explaining to the official that it was just taking shots, that he just wanted to take shots, but it now got into a brawl and his camera was damaged in the process.
Now, the journalists were accused of not obtaining permits before doing their job. Now, have you been able to speak to any of them to hear their own side of the story?
Yes, I did. It's a public place. You really do not need to take permission to take just pictures or visuals of the place. You need permission if you want to get in to take visuals or interview. It's a public space. So taking permission was just out of it. We've been there severally to do reports.
And has the commission responded to the issue?
Yes, the commission asked. The commission asked him to write a letter for replacement of the camera.
Well, thank you, Atinuke, there, our correspondent in Abuja, bringing us up to speed on the attack of journalists at NIMC office in Abuja. Thank you very much, and please stay safe. And moving on now, the Yaba College of Technology is one of Nigeria's foremost tertiary institutions. In addition to its numerous landmark achievements, the school recently launched a museum, the first of its kind in any Nigerian tertiary institution. Find out more in this next report. Founded nearly 70 years ago, the Yaba School of Arts is one of the country's oldest, and it boasts of some of the greatest visual artists home and abroad as its alumni. After years of wishing and efforts hindered by lack of funds, the school has now set the pace to establish the largest art museum in any higher institution in the country.
Since we have an art school here, which entails different departments, all the products from these different departments, over the years, each of the departments had been keeping it in their repository. But at a point in time, we felt that there's a need for us to actually have them, as a body in a particular space.
The college set up a research committee to look at ways of attracting funds and collaborations to the college. And that was how the Ford Foundation was brought in. And initially, we were just looking at a program where we address sexual harassment in the college. But by extension, we were able to get a museum out of the whole project.
The project was supported by Ford Foundation with a grant of $100,000. Located at the basement of the School of Art, the museum is a dedicated space for the artifacts generated in the school, and the school's alumni is already bolstering the collection with their works.
Currently, our collection is about a little over 2,000 pieces. We have works starting from 1952, all the way to the 80s. Then we have works from 30 years down the road till now.
We have a lot of lecturers here that are based in America that they sent in their works. Though for those that we cannot pick up their names, we will send photographers and say who their classmates. We will look for their classmates that can identify the owner of the works.
The museum is not just designed to gather works. The hope is that it will serve as a connecting point for all art lovers and the community in which it is sited.
The school has been here for such a long time, and it has so many relationships with so many artists in the city, and we want to begin to document them. Primary information, not just things that you find online. Things that these artists probably would keep or lose, like how you would go through Dali's foundation now and find notebooks and things. Those are the kind of things that the museum is going to gather for research purposes. Also, we're starting to work towards having our conservatory and preservation section.
Now that you have this museum here, it's already attracting economic business environment, which is the characteristics of every museum anywhere in the whole world. When the culture of the museum is built, everybody around becomes aware, and then the import of keeping what we have is also being taught indirectly.
The school says the museum is still a work in progress. From time to time, they hope to incorporate different design formats and also hold advocacies against sexual harassment and gender-based violence within and beyond the college community. Oyi Adekunle, TV360, Lagos. Well, let's take a break here, but still to come. World Health Organization appeals to pharmaceutical groups to boost the supply of vaccines as quickly as possible. Details after this break.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Welcome back. Now here is a quick reminder of some of our top stories tonight. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari says it will be difficult for Nigeria to attain sustainable growth when the country is still struggling with huge infrastructural deficit. The president said this while receiving the Chinese Minister of Foreign Affairs Wang Yi at the State House in Abuja. And we also told you that the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, says national identification number holders are required to pay 15,000 naira to correct their dates of birth in the commission's database. Nigerians with NIN are also required to pay a processing fee of 5,000 naira for card renewal or card replacement, as well as an address modification fee of 500 naira. Now, in case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on all our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. Nigeria is gradually nearing the 100,000 mark with 1,354 new COVID-19 infections recorded in the last 24 hours, the highest ever since the pandemic broke out last year. As the country continues to battle with this latest surge, the government is hoping to get at least 100,000 doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech approved COVID-19 vaccines by the end of January. Executive Director of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Faisal Shoaib, who reviewed this at the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 briefing, said an additional batch will be received in the second phase with the aim of vaccinating 70% of the country's population by next year. And the World Health Organization, WHO, has appealed to pharmaceutical groups to boost the supply of vaccines as quickly as possible, especially to health workers and high-risk persons. The Director General of the WHO, Tedros Ghebreyesus, made the appeal during the health agency's media briefing about the pandemic on Tuesday. According to the WHO boss, prompt vaccination is the quickest way to restore the order in the world.
The scientific community has set a new standard for vaccine development. Now, the international community must set a new standard for access. COVAX has been backed by 190 countries and economies, and I want to see all manufacturers channel supply to COVAX quickly so that rollouts can begin and those at high risk are protected around the world. We owe it morally to health workers everywhere who have been fighting this pandemic around the clock for the best part of a year, to vaccinate them all as soon as possible. People must come first over short-term profits. It's in countries' self-interest to shun vaccine nationalism. Vaccinating health workers and those at high risk of serious disease is the fastest way to stabilize health systems, ensure all essential health services are up and running, and that a truly global economic recovery can take place.
We now bring you that track of the Executive Director of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Faisal Shoaibu, speaking about the plans of the federal government to vaccinate 70% of the country's population by next year.
Through the COVAX facility, we expect to receive approximately 100,000 doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine by the end of January. A letter announcing this allocation is being expected from the COVAX facility this week. In the second phase, also through the COVAX facility, Nigeria is expected to secure free delivery of 42 million doses of vaccines, which will be a combination of all the available and approved vaccines currently in the market. This is expected to cover about 20% of the population. In order to achieve eradication of COVID-19 in Nigeria, we need to cover 70% of the total population with COVID-19 vaccines. 40% will be vaccinated in 2021, while 30% will be covered next year.
Let's take a short break here and return with business updates. Don't go away.
Give him his shoes somewhere here, his phone and everything.
Do like that again.
Thank you. So, bye bye. Hey, Oga, where do you think you are going? Ho!
You never shake body. You never shake body.
Shake body, see?
You never shake body.
Never shake body. I no get combo for my body.
You go take for here. Sit down there.
What's this man still doing here? They say I do shake body. I shake body, I shake body. They say I do this. And I say I don't get color. You are asking for money. Sorry, ma'am. Asking for money to bail a suspect is an act of corruption. Both of you will be punished. Corruption is not allowed within the force. Remember,
police is your friend. Giving and taking bribe is wrong.
Corruption, not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
Thank you for staying with us. Let's now join Folashade Ogunrinde for the latest developments in the world of business. Over to you now, Shade.
Thank you, Oyi. Now, in business, the Director General of the Debt Management Office, DMO, Patience Oniha, says the federal government is planned to repay $50 million Eurobond with funds raised from a domestic bond offering held in the last quarter of 2020. Oniha, while speaking during a press briefing, revealed the government is casting its glance around the foreign debt market for fresh issues with frontier markets, has its eyes on the conditions of international bonds and does not see any difficulties in sourcing dollars to repay the bond at its expiration. Oniha further revealed the country's debt stock as at the third quarter of 2020 came to 32.223 trillion naira, which is 1.214 trillion naira bigger than the 31.009 trillion naira reported in the preceding quarter. We take a pause here and return with stock market review. In what seems to be a fluctuating start of the year, the Nigerian stock market has again ended trading on a bullish note despite the loss recorded in the previous quarter of the day's trading. Now, all share index recorded 0.17% gain. And we can also see that that is a 40.465 basis points as market capitalization also closed positive at 21.158 trillion naira. The market breadth closed positive with 23 equities recording gains against 16 losers. Now the gainers list as equities from different sectors recorded gains as BOC Gas Limited from natural gases leads the pack of top gainers with 1 naira gain and was closely followed by Flour Mill PLC with 9 kobo gain. Now we can see that the next two top winners for today, Zenith Bank PLC and Vitafilm, which had a combined gain of 30 kobo. Now let's take a look at the losers chart. We can see here now that Eternal PLC, PZ Cushons PLC topped the list of 62 kobo loss, while Namath Pharmaceutical PLC and Africa Prudential PLC round of the losses gain list with a total of 12 kobo loss. Now, at the end of trading today, we can take a look at this market summary. We can see that 249.445 million shares worth value of 2.184 billion naira in deals of 6,090. Now let's take a look at the global scene. We can see here that FTSE had gains, of course, of 3.47%. Dow Jones, of course, also had gains of 1.54%. And Nikkei had 0.38% loss. And that's all on the stock market review. Over to you now, Oyi, for the rest of the news.
Well, thank you very much for that update, Falasha. We move on now to the foreign scene, where founder of WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, has been denied bail, which means he will remain in jail as he continues to fight against extradition to the United States. District Judge Vanessa Baraita said there were substantial grounds to believe Assange would abscond if he was released and he would fail to surrender to court and face the appeal proceedings. The judge had ruled on Monday that the WikiLeaks founder cannot be extradited to the United States because he might kill himself, but the U.S. is now appealing that decision. Assange has been held in prison since 2019 after hiding for 7 years inside the Ecuadorian embassy to avoid extradition. U.S. prosecutors want to put him on trial for hacking and disclosing classified information. It's now time for Entertainment Report on News Now.
Nollywood has lost another veteran Yoruba actor, Falake Aremu, popularly known as Orishabumi. Orishabomi died shortly after the death of her ex-husband Jimo Aliyu, who was popularly known as Aworu, whose training she rose to prominence in the film industry. Orishabomi was well known from the 80s for her role as the priestess, pacifist, or the good witch in movies. The Kwara-born actress is known for notable roles such as the priestess in Ayomoeda and many others. Unfortunately, Orishabomi died at the age of 60 in her home in Ibadan, Oyo State. The 2021 Grammys, originally scheduled for January 31st, have been postponed due to concerns over the spread of COVID-19. Although organizers are yet to confirm a new date, sources say they are aiming to hold the event sometimes in March. The 2021 Grammy nominations is led by Beyoncé, who picked up 9 nominations, while Dua Lipa, Taylor Swift, and Rudy Rich followed behind with 6 nods each. It's however unclear if original host Trevor Noah is still to host this year's show. Moving on, it looks like there is trouble in paradise as the high-profile marriage between reality TV star Kim Kardashian and rapper Kanye West is allegedly coming to an end. After 6 years of marriage and more than 8 years together, the couple seems to be effectively going their separate ways. According to sources, Kim, however, has yet to file for divorce. The two celebrities who went public with their relationship in April 2012 share 4 children together. Kim and Kanye West took their years-long friendship to the next level shortly after their infamous day marriage crumbled back in 2011. And that's all we have for you on the entertainment segment of News Now.
In sports, South African Premier Soccer League champions Kaizer Chiefs have made it to the group stage of the Confederation of African Football CAF Champions League for the first time. Chiefs defeated Angola's Primeiro Giants over 2 legs with a slim 1-0 margin to book a place in the Champions League group stage. Chiefs become the first team to beat the South African team Primeiro in Luanda, the Angola capital. South Africa is well represented in CAF this year, with both the Soweto Giants and Sundowns making it to the group stage. Well, with that, we've come to the end of News Now. Thank you very much for watching. I am Oyi Adekunle. We'll leave you now with Weather Report.